My name is Amel, and I'm here thanks to the value of diversity that allowed you to organize such kind of events like TEDx and allowed me to participate in it despite our differences. Actually, I'm jealous. I'm jealous because you are lucky to be born or to be living in a society that appreciates and protects diversity. A society that accepts and internalizes differences in colors, religions, languages, and especially ideas and opinions. While it was not the case with me. In my country, I have lived the illusion of diversity, the facade or the shell of diversity. Let me give you an example. In my case, I grew up in a family where my father has African appearance, my mother has blue eyes and blonde hair, whereas me, together with my 8 brothers and sisters, we share this Spanish look, and I don't know from where we inherited that. Well, this was only the facade, while the inner facade, the real diversity, the diversity that is deeper than our colors and wider than our languages, that is about ideas, opinions, attitudes, and choices, was very expensive. Unlike your societies, in my country it was not granted. It was so expensive that at some point in your life you have to give it up. When you grow up and you find out that you have to be a mere unit, a number in your society, that you have to get in the simulation machine of the regime and to adopt the one story, one history, one philosophy, one memory, and one party philosophy. In this simulation process, they change your identity and they reconstruct your ideas. For example, we all learned at school that the independence or the decolonization was a result of the Second World War, heavy economic and military costs together with the rise of the national movements of liberation. But in the official narrative in my country, the independence is the personal victory of one man. And of course, you are not allowed to contradict this story publicly, to the cost of being perceived as a thankless, a disloyal person, or worse. And at that moment, faced with this simulation machine, you are presented with 2 choices. Either to join it and be part of it, or to assume your responsibility of being different. In my situation, I decided, along other Tunisians, not to be part of it, not to believe the official narrative. And even when I believe it, to keep my right to question it no matter the cost. And here I have to be honest and tell you that when I took this decision, I didn't calculate the real price of diversity, simply because since my childhood, I haven't been good in math. Then, later, in my university years, the time had come to finally pay the price for diversity. In the first year at the Faculty of Law, I met 3 friends with whom I shared the same meaning of diversity, that is deeper than our colors and wider than our dreams, and they were also ready to pay the price for it. Together, we established a club and we called it the Club of Ideas, where we used to invite professors as well as students to come and discuss and express their opinions and thoughts with no fear or moral or political control, where they also discussed and questioned the official anecdotes about our country, Tunisia, that was portrayed in the official media and in the public narrative as the developed country that compete the old democracies and the wealthy economies over prosperity and the human rights, which was not true, of course. And this club was our small success, where students from all over the campus, they used to come to the Faculty of Law just to feel free discussing their various opinions about arts, about philosophy, about sociology, where we also discussed and read the books of history, politics and poetry that were prohibited from reading at that time. And we started publishing small texts with all of our nonlinear ideas. That club raised the polemic because it was spreading a new alternative narrative. And because working for diversity was not the best thing you can do under the dictatorship. And because it was a success, we were rewarded, so to say. In the Christmas of 2008, while you were probably making nice memories with your friends and families and exchanging nice gifts, we were also receiving gifts, but of another kind. A kind, the least to say, was not nice at all. That Christmas, some strangers visited my home to reward me. They gathered and confiscated all of my books, not only the prohibited ones, but even my study materials, like, for example, the Code of the Criminal Law. They confiscated them because they were stupid enough to believe that I think differently only because of books. Well, although they played a role in shaping my ideas, they were not the only reason behind them. I was different because, as a human being, we all were born with different dreams and various views. And I forgot to tell you that they didn't only take the books, they took me too. They arrested me because thinking differently in my country at that time was a crime. Later, in the way to the jail, they promised me to get a new meaning of diversity. They sarcastically told me, "We appreciate your fight for a pluralistic country, and we'll take you to a much more diverse venue." To my surprise, they were saying the truth. In the prison, I got a completely new meaning of diversity. It was about living as a human being in a place where there was no humanity, to live from day to day without being harassed or raped, to survive the everyday humiliation and to avoid the continuous attempts of violence and aggression. Diversity there means to live with people from different places, with different colors, dialects and delinquencies, without being excluded or excluding them. But it was not easy for me to get to people there, because jailers in my country, they use it to advise the good criminals not to get in touch with people who have bad ideas. And by bad here, of course, they mean different. Thus, the first days of my stay there, I was just a number for the other prisoners. I was the new small girl arrested because of her harmful ideas. However, despite the mutual fear, the psychological fences, and the informers' control, I managed to approach some prisoners and spoil them and maintain a relation with them. Although they respected me and eventually accepted me, they kept saying it was not good enough to be jailed or arrested for ideas or diversity, and not for a good big crime like theft or murder. Well, this experience strengthened me more and taught me if we arrived to pay this price, nothing no longer stood in our way towards a strong, diverse, and free society. Although it was not the last time I have been arrested for that dream, December 2008 was the time where I learned the most about diversity. Do you understand now why I said I'm jealous? I'm jealous because you are likely were not faced with the same probability to live the same experience as me. I'm jealous because you were lucky to be born or to be living in a society where diversity prevails, and because it is granted for us now. We need to appreciate it even more. We especially need to protect it every day, because if we don't do, we might lose it again. And once this happens, believe me, it will be not easy to get it back, if we are ever able to get it back. Thank you for your attention.